Check it out. I'm going to turn it upside down and you won't see a bubble go up through it. No bubble. No bubble. I can see the bubble up here not moving. Well, kind of trying to move, but it's trying real hard. It's not going anywhere. Totally crystallized honey. Hey everybody, Jim Wellman here in my toy room, and I'm about to show you how I decrystallize my honey. Just the other day I had a bunch of boxes of crystallized honey, pound containers like this, and I forgot one. But what I did at that time was I put them in pots on the stove in water that would come right up about to the neck of the top of the neck of the bottle. And I only use up to the lowest heat setting. I just turn it on and that's it. I don't go any above that. There's no reason to go higher than that. And your honey should decrystallize in probably 20 to 30 minutes, something like that. I had probably three pots on the stove, big pots. I don't know how big they were, 5-quart pots, filled up with honey jars. And I was just rotating them out as they would get liquefied. But then I started doing some research, and I found that they sell these heat pads that you can wrap a 55-gallon drum with, and they probably cost like $400 to $700. I'll try to find one just for the heck of it and put a link in the description. It's ridiculous how much they cost. Well, when I was home for Thanksgiving, I'm in Northeast Florida, and I was back in Lakeland for Thanksgiving, and my mom was throwing out this heat pad. It was just the bending that had gone on right here had broken the connection. So with my electronic skills, I fixed it. But this is a old heat pad. I don't even know the name. It just says genuine wet proof. Give you an idea how old it is. It's not waterproof, it's wet proof. But what we do, I did a test with this the other day. I had a 1-gallon container that, a 2-gallon bucket that had about at least a gallon of honey. I'm looking at it right now. It's actually, I can see the line. It's above where a gallon would be. It's probably like 1.25 gallons, maybe 1.5 gallons, but it was crystal. So what I did is I put the bucket on top of this. I wrapped a bunch of blankets around, and I put this upside down on top of it, just for insulation. And in about an hour to 2 hours, it liquefied it for me. So that's what we're doing with this. I did it earlier today. I had a bunch of honeys that were left over that I didn't get to the other day, and I put them in this. Put the heat pad in the bottom of the bucket, and put the honeys on top of it. Put a towel on top of them. And you can see I have one wrapped around here for a little extra protection on the outside. And then put some towels on the top. That's what we're going to do right now. These were already in here. I'm going to take them out. And I'll show you how we do this, or how I do it. So if you have a heat pad, you can get these things on the computer. On the computer. You can get them on like Amazon and stuff. Walmart. Probably even the pharmacies probably even have these things. It's just a heat pad, you know, like people put them on their backs or whatever. When I was a little kid, I think if I had like growing pains or whatever, my legs hurt, my mom would put it on me. So you can see the inside of the bucket. This is a 3-pound container. Put that down there. These are 1 pounds. And I want to put them facing up because just in case there's enough pressure built up by the heat, if your honey starts to ooze out, if it was on its side and it started to build pressure, the honey's going to come pouring out of it. So we want to keep them straight up. So I'm putting them all up straight up, and I'm going to put this towel to fill the area on the side, kind of cover them a little bit. Put it up right. I put the lid on. I don't know if that really matters, but then I put a couple towels over the top. Wrap it around the sides. And this is just like a bathroom rug, an extra bathroom rug, so it's really thick. Really keeps some heat in from escaping upward. But I'm going to leave it like that for about an hour. We'll come back and check on it, and all that stuff's going to be liquefied again. That solid orange blossom which I showed you, it's going to be flowing like the St. Johns River out here. So all right, we'll be back in about an hour. Check on it. All right, we're back. We're taking the lid off. I was here a little bit ago, about 30 minutes ago, just checking on things, and things are starting to get warm in there. So we should be, yeah, look at that. Still needs a little bit more, but let me show you. Oops, it's not focusing. There we go. Look at this. See the bubble? Look at that before. Yeah. All right. So we got a nice and warm. We've got a, well, we took it from like no bubble moving at all to the bubble moving. It still needs some more. I'm going to leave it in there probably. I'll probably leave it in here for another hour or so, maybe even 2 before I go to bed. I'll turn it off. But it's doing a really good job. This one here, it was only a little bit down on the bottom that was kind of starting to crystallize, but it's good. Or it's getting good. There's a little spot here left over. But I don't know if you can see this, but let me show you this. I think what we've got here is hydrogen peroxide. So if you're familiar with chemistry, I remember, I think it's stoichiometry problems are the ones that you do when you like add heat to a substance, and then some of it goes off as a gas and some of it is left behind as like a solid. It's a chemical reaction problem that you do to figure out if you start with this, you're going to end with this. And I think what we've done is we started with honey and we've ended with honey and hydrogen peroxide. So the moisture inside the honey combines and the heat and all that reaction happens, and then you're left with hydrogen peroxide. I think that's what that foam is on the top. I'm going to look into it a little bit further. If I can find any links that tell us a little more detail about it, I'll leave those in the description, but I'm pretty certain that's what your honey has created. If you ever warm it like this and you're left with the white bubbles up there, pretty certain it's hydrogen peroxide. And then that talks to the medicinal properties people say that honey has, the magical properties as I call it. But anyway, okay, I just did a little bit of learning, a little bit of reading on the internet, and I found, I'll put a chart below so you can see what I'm talking about. I found that there's a naturally occurring enzyme in honey called glucose oxidase. Glucose oxidase reacts with water molecules around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius, or about 86 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That reaction leaves us with different compounds. One of those compounds is hydrogen peroxide. So that's one of the medicinal qualities of honey. Hydrogen peroxide is similar to a bleach. It can kill bacteria, things like that. I think the glucose oxidase is also naturally occurring on the outside of fungus, and then helps them to produce a kind of a antibacterial barrier over them. But like I always say, beekeeping is like an ongoing science experiment. There's always something new to learn. And today I learned about the natural occurrence or creation of hydrogen peroxide within the honey. Back to why we came here. We got our bucket. It heated my honey. It turned crystallized honey into a liquid form. Granted, I need to leave it in there a little bit longer, but if you need to liquefy honey and you don't want to deal with the mess of the stove and the water and boiling over if you forget, left it on or whatever, this is a much easier method. Heat pad that you can get from millions of different stores out there. If I can find one online, I'll leave a link in the description for a cheap one that'll get the job done. This one has 3 settings. It's got a high, medium, and low. I've got it on high right now, and like I said, it took an hour and a half for this to get to this point. But what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to get a cooler. I've got a cooler in the backyard that I haven't used in a long time. Probably never will use it again because it's old, it's dirty. I've got some Yetis that I use nowadays, and I'm going to use those before I use it. So I'll probably somehow figure a way. I'll cut the cord, splice it together, put the heat pad inside the bucket. It's got a nice seal on that cooler, and that's important. You need a nice seal. This one doesn't seal too well. That's why I put the towels over the top. But in a cooler with a good seal, I bet you can maintain the heat in there a lot better than you can maintain it in here. So we probably would have been totally liquefied on all these jars by now if I'd have done it that method. But quick, easy way to melt your honey. Hope you liked the video. Let me know if you think what you think. If you got any comments or questions, by all means, leave them down below. I'm good at responding. Like and subscribe. Appreciate those who are continuing to watch the journey, the bee journey. Plenty more to come. It's only February, beginning of February or end of January. I don't really know what day it is right now. But I'm going to get down to the orange groves probably next weekend. Check on some things. Orange blossom should start getting in deep to full bloom probably in the next few weeks. And we've got until probably the end of March when we'll pull them out of there. Probably check on them a couple times between now and then. Maybe add another super, hopefully, to what I've got going on right now. Then we'll get over there to Tupelo later on in the year, well, probably around April time frame. Brazilian pepper. What I'd really like to do this year, if I can find a place to do it, is go target some mangrove honey. I haven't ever done it before, but mangrove blooms about the same time the Brazilian pepper blooms. If I remember, I was at the beach in Southwest Florida probably around October a couple of years ago, and the mangroves were blooming. So if I can find a chunk of land to keep some bees on, where I can target a good chunk of mangroves, I'm going to do it this year. If not, ask for another time. But right now, like I said, we're just getting into orange grove or orange blossom season. So stick around with me. We'll see you next time. Appreciate you watching.